Liverpool rocked by shock twists on and off the pitch. Don't miss a second. Subscribe now for instant Reds updates, exclusives, and breaking alerts.
News headline: Hugo Ekitike's agreement for transfer exit and Liverpool phone call that forced U-turn. Newcastle United supporters might be left contemplating what could have been when Hugo Ekitike steps onto the pitch for Liverpool in Saturday night's clash. The 23-year-old striker has proven to be an astute acquisition for the Reds, already netting 13 times this campaign. Nevertheless, he's anticipated to receive a less than warm welcome from the traveling Toon army at Anfield, following his near move to St. James Park before ultimately choosing Liverpool. Eddie Howe's recruitment team invested considerable effort last summer in pursuit of fresh talent, and it's believed they'd very nearly wrapped up Ekitike's signature before Arne Slot's outfit nipped in at the 11th hour. In a particularly harsh twist of fate, Liverpool subsequently captured Alexander Isak as well, effectively snapping up what might have constituted Newcastle's preferred striking duo for the forthcoming season in one swift maneuver. Before Saturday's encounter with Newcastle, Ekitike was questioned about the likely response from the visiting supporters. "I don't care. I play for Liverpool. I have my fans here. We played there, Newcastle, already and won, so hopefully we will have a great week of working. I don't care about this. I just want to play and help the team. It is simple," he said. "Obviously, we were close to signing for Newcastle, but I made my choice. I knew where I wanted to come, so that's all I can give to you. Liverpool fans' support means a lot. I play for the fans. They give me so much energy. Sometimes in games when I haven't scored, you hear your name from the crowd, and it's a great feeling. It was what I was dreaming of as a kid, and it made me live that, so I'm grateful and I want to give more to them to make them happy. We have the quality. I really believe things will go well." Despite this, Ekitike came within a whisker of moving to St. James Park, as agent Ali Barat subsequently disclosed. Speaking to Tuttosport, he explained, "Hugo Ekitike, I was working on behalf of Eintracht Frankfurt to bring him to Newcastle. I stayed in Germany for 10 days. We agreed everything with the German club and the player, then Liverpool called him and he chose Anfield." Before the Reds secured his signature, Newcastle boss Eddie Howe had said, "I think there's no doubting that I really like Hugo, and have done for a number of years. He's someone that we've tracked for a long time." Following his goal for Liverpool against Qarabağ in Wednesday night's Champions League clash, Ekitike, who some supporters have likened to Fernando Torres, received plaudits from Anfield icon Steven Gerrard. "I love this kid Ekitike. I think he's just going to get better and better. What a signing he's been so far. The main positive is these two, Ekitike and Wirtz. The timing of the pass and the finish, they're growing and evolving, and that connection, they're on the same wavelength."
News headline: Liverpool reached decision on selling Curtis Jones to Inter Milan. Sources: Liverpool have rebuffed an approach from Inter Milan for Curtis Jones, with club sources insisting the midfielder will not be allowed to explore a late window switch to the San Siro, and what that means for Nottingham Forest's move for Davide Fratesi has also been revealed. Team Talk understands Inter held direct conversations with Jones's camp in recent days, with the England international said to be intrigued by the possibility of joining the Serie A giants. The Nerazzurri sounded out the 25-year-old as they weigh up midfield options ahead of Monday's 7 p.m. deadline. According to Fabrizio Romano, the deal Inter had in mind was a 6-month loan that contained an option to buy worth €40 million. However, senior Anfield figures have made it clear to us that Jones remains an important squad member, and Liverpool have no intention of sanctioning major exits at this stage of the window. The Reds view their business as complete and are unwilling to weaken Arne Slot's options with the season entering a crucial phase. Inter's interest in Jones emerged after they struck an agreement to sell Davide Fratesi to Nottingham Forest, with the Premier League side pushing hard to finalize a loan deal containing an option worth close to £35 million. Forest moved for Fratesi after allowing Douglas Luiz to cut his loan spell short, and the Italian midfielder has already given the green light to the switch. But Inter have informed both Forest and Fratesi that they will not approve the transfer until a replacement is secured, prompting their inquiry for Jones. With Liverpool shutting that door, the Nerazzurri are now assessing alternative targets. As such, Forest's move for Fratesi is not dead, but is now reliant on Inter finding and securing a deal for a worthy alternative to Jones in a short space of time. Forest, meanwhile, are gearing up for a frantic final few days of the window. As well as closing in on Fratesi, they are preparing to battle West Ham for Manchester City goalkeeper Stefan Ortega, who is attracting significant late interest. The Midlands club are also still attempting to wrap up a deal for Jean-Philippe Mateta, though sources indicate the Crystal Palace striker would prefer a move to Italy, where AC Milan and Juventus continue to monitor his situation. Latest Liverpool news: Tsimikas, Mamardashvili, Upamecano, Dumfries. Elsewhere, Dayot Upamecano has been warned by Bayern Munich that their contract offer will remain on the table for only a matter of weeks, not months, as pressure grows on the defender to make a decision, amid strong links to Liverpool amongst other clubs, Team Talk understands. Finally, and when giving his take on Jones to Inter, transfer guru Fabrizio Romano also revealed what's really happening with those Denzel Dumfries to Liverpool rumors. In other news, an agreement has been struck for Kostas Tsimikas to leave Liverpool for a new club, while a proposal has also arrived for goalkeeper Georgi Mamardashvili, a journalist has claimed.
News headline: Gary Neville and Roy Keane agree on Liverpool vs Newcastle in mad prediction. Liverpool hosts Newcastle United in the Premier League, with Gary Neville and Roy Keane in agreement on how they think the game will unfold at Anfield. Roy Keane and Gary Neville are on the same page when it comes to how they think Liverpool vs Newcastle United will unfold in the Premier League, with Arne Slot's men in need of a victory. As things stand, only 3 points separate the teams, with both aiming to qualify for the Champions League by finishing inside the top 5 places. As a result, this match is something of a 6-pointer. Earlier in the campaign, Liverpool won at St. James's Park thanks to a late goal from Rio Ngumaha deep into stoppage time. That came just before Alexander Isak's record-breaking transfer move went through. "Let's go 2-2. It could be a mad game," Keane said on the Stick to Football podcast, sponsored by Skybet. Ian Wright was in agreement, before Neville and Paul Scholes predicted an even more goal-filled game, a 3-3 draw. "We hope so," Andy Robertson said when asked by the Reds' official website if Liverpool could build on its midweek win over Karabakh here. "I think that's what we've maybe lacked a little bit this season, consistency. That's what last season we were so good at. Every game we were spot on and went on good runs and picked up the points where we had to. This season we've been a bit more up and down, so we need to try to find that consistency in the second part of the season if we want to achieve our goals at the end of the year. We need to start showing that. Obviously, when you get beat in the league, it's important that you respond quickly. Last Saturday at Bournemouth was hugely disappointing. It's up to us in front of our home fans on Saturday night under the lights at Anfield to go and show once more what a good team we can be. Hopefully, if we do that, then it's enough for 3 points. It was obviously a good result. We knew how important the game was in terms of finishing in the top 8. Obviously, it saves us playing 2 extra games. It means we're seeded into the last 16 and things like that. So we knew it was really important. We knew Karabakh obviously had a good Champions League campaign and picked up a lot of points. We knew we had to be on it, and I think the lads showed that in their performance. I think we were really good. I think we punished their mistakes at times, and keeping a clean sheet and scoring 6 goals, you can't ask for more than that. Overall, it's been a good Champions League campaign."
News headline: Liverpool transfer news as Bayern Munich center-back Dayot Upamecano is linked and Chelsea could reportedly move for a $71 million defender before the Reds get involved. Liverpool is unlikely to sign anyone before Monday's transfer deadline, but the summer could be a big period for Arne Slot and his sporting director Richard Hughes. With some glaring gaps in its roster, Liverpool could be taking a major gamble when it comes to the rest of this campaign and qualifying for the Champions League. Waiting, though, means better targets might be available in the next window. Here is the Liverpool.com verdict on the latest transfer gossip to emerge around the Reds. We start with the latest in the chase for an exciting young center-back wanted by several clubs around Europe. Jeremy Jackett, Rennes. Chelsea wants to sign Jeremy Jackett from Rennes. The LI1 side wants to keep him until the summer. Even so, reports in France say the Stamford Bridge outfit could table an offer before Monday. According to West France, Liam Rosenier's club has a $71 million bid for Jackett lined up, in part because it fears Liverpool could join the race in the summer. There has been speculation that Rennes could move for Charlie Cresswell, who plays for Toulouse. The report plays that down, however, with no talks held regarding the England under-21 international because the club is insistent that Jackett will remain put. Bayern Munich has also been linked with Jackett, who is an exciting emerging talent, but Bild's Christian Falk has played such speculation down. Bayern Munich are not a big competitor for Jeremy Jackett's signature, Falk wrote in his CF Bayern Insider column. They know him and he has a market for the summer, but Bayern are not at the moment involved in negotiations. This means there's a big chance for the Premier League. Liverpool.com says, Jacket would be a great option, even if he is set to be costly. If Rennes is not prepared to sell until the end of the season, he might be worth waiting for. Dayot Upamecano, Bayern Munich. Liverpool is among the clubs around Europe that are interested in signing the Bayern Munich defender Dayot Upamecano, according to Sky Germany's Florian Plettenberg. The French center-back is supposedly waiting for the Reds and Real Madrid to make a move for him if he becomes a free agent in the summer. At that point, he will be very much in demand if he doesn't sign a new deal. Ibrahima Konate, of course, could leave Liverpool for nothing in the summer. Signing Mark Guéhi was one option until he joined Manchester City, and signing another defender, even if Konate stays, should be a must. Liverpool.com says, Upamecano would probably have high wage demands, and while he is a high-level player, he can be prone to high-profile mistakes.
News headline: Federico Chiesa achieves Liverpool feat unseen for over 18 years. What a player. Federico Chiesa has had about as strange a Liverpool career as anyone in the club's history. He can't have too much competition for that either. The Italian joined Liverpool back in August 2024 as the only first-team addition to Arne Slot's new squad. Of course, he'd end up winning the Premier League. However, Chiesa barely played. He has just 108 league minutes across the entire campaign, starting one fixture. Everyone figured he'd be sold once the season ended, but he hung on and remains at the club. But things haven't been particularly different this time around, despite Liverpool's struggles. He's improved on his Premier League minutes, all the way to 244 no less, but Chiesa is still far from a regular. 18 months into his Liverpool career, he's had just the 2 Premier League starts and not many more across all competitions. That has, however, lent itself to him achieving a feat unseen for quite some time. Federico Chiesa's feat. Chiesa scored against Karabag on Wednesday with what was his 5th Liverpool goal. He's actually popped up with a few this season, 3 now. They've all come as a substitute, though. Chiesa does rarely start, but it seems he's more effective from the bench, at least he has been for Liverpool this season. And in scoring all 5 goals from the bench, Chiesa has matched a feat from Ryan Babel. The Dutchman was the last Liverpool player to be a substitute for 5 consecutive Liverpool goals, per Michael Reed. It's not the kind of record that Chiesa will dream about, but it at least shows he's found some sort of place in the team. That's 3 goals this season and hopefully a couple more to come as Liverpool face some massive games going forward. No one will complain if the ones to come are from the bench either.
News headline: Door open for Liverpool to sign the perfect defender before January transfer deadline, as Arne Slot leaves January hint. Liverpool can sign the perfect defender before the January transfer deadline. The Reds have only a few days left until Monday's deadline, and time is running out for Richard Hughes to complete a signing, but Arne Slot hasn't ruled it out. The Liverpool head coach was quizzed about the possibility of a signing before the window shuts in his press conference building up Liverpool's fixture against Newcastle United. Slot opened the door to one, hinting that behind closed doors, Liverpool are still ready to make a move and having conversations about possible signings. Yeah, you know the answer. It is that if we think we have a player who can help us and think it is possible, we will do so. They are conversations that don't take place in this room, Slot said. It's a very mysterious answer, but in the past, Slot has ruled out deals. The fact that he didn't could just be a hint, as Fabrizio Romano has suggested as well that Liverpool are exploring options. Romano said that Liverpool are looking at right backs in particular. Liverpool today had some conversations internally to check the right backs market, Romano said. They are exploring some possibilities, but they believe there are not so many options of quality. If they find a good solution, they will go for it. Otherwise, they will stay with the current squad. So who could that option of quality be? Well, in our opinion, the door is open for Liverpool to sign a player who they have scouted numerous times and who would be the perfect arrival at Anfield because he can play both as a center-back and as a right-back. His name is Ousmane Diaw, a 21-year-old defender who, according to Anfield Watch's sources, has been closely followed by the club. Diaw plays for FC Midtjylland in Denmark and already has over 100 appearances under his belt. He has been particularly impressive in the Europa League this season. His performance in the competition have been extremely impressive. Diaw won 11 of his last 12 aerial duels contested and also won 7 of his last 9 ground duels. In previous games before that, he scored against Nottingham Forest and Sturm Graz.
He's at a stage now in his career where he is ready for the next step, and he could be the perfect option for Liverpool. Midtjylland are a club who are always ready to sell their players, and they already have a few young center-backs coming through ready to take Diaw's place. So the door is open for Liverpool to sign the Senegalese center-back, and he's the perfect option because of the fact that he plays as a right-sided center-back, but he can also play as a right-back. Given Liverpool's lack of depth in both departments, Diaw is exactly the profile Liverpool need. They don't need him to be starting every week, but he's definitely ready and has the quality Liverpool need in order to become a squad player. Long-term, because of his age, he could even become a starter. He is extremely quick for a center-back, which means he'll be well-suited to Premier League football as well.
News headline: Liverpool have perfect Arne Slot replacement lined up. News and details. Arne Slot's Liverpool tenure has been questioned many times this season. Although the Dutchman managed to win the Premier League title with the Anfield outfit last term, most of the Reds' performances this time around have been well below expectations. Most people thought that Liverpool would be one of the best teams in the world after they signed players such as Alexander Isak and Florian Wirtz. And while Wirtz is finally starting to find his rhythm, it's clear that some changes still need to be made. Liverpool don't look likely to bring any new players in before the winter transfer window slams shut, but that doesn't mean that change can't still occur. That is, especially after the latest developments that have emerged. Roberto De Zerbi is set to leave Marseille after being knocked out of the Champions League. When Roberto De Zerbi exited Brighton for Marseille, the move was questioned, with many left baffled about why the Italian would choose to leave the best league in the world. However, since he took over the League One outfit, they've gone from strength to strength, but evidently it wasn't enough to get out of the league phase of the Champions League. The fact that they didn't manage to qualify means that De Zerbi's role at Marseille is now being questioned, and as per an update from Foot Mercato journalist Santi Auna, it seems like an answer about his future has already been given. According to our information, Roberto De Zerbi has asked to leave OM following the defeat against Bruges in the Champions League. He wrote, "Why Roberto De Zerbi would be the perfect replacement for Arne Slot at Liverpool. Although there are several managers who have been linked with becoming Liverpool's next head coach, it feels like De Zerbi would be the perfect fit. Not only has the Italian already had Premier League experience, but he's also been fairly successful at the clubs that he's managed. And even though Liverpool aren't in the worst position ever at the moment, the fact that they're 14 points adrift of first-placed Arsenal and currently 6th in the table is massively concerning. Some Liverpool fans have been calling for Slot's head over the last few weeks, and although others, such as Xabi Alonso, are available, the stability and fresh boost that De Zerbi could bring to L4 would be massive for the club. The fact that he chooses to line his team up with 3 center-backs is a tad worrying, considering the lack of depth that Liverpool have, but since their main targets are likely to be defenders in the next transfer window or two, it could help him craft his ideal team.
News headline: Roy Keane shares MAD Liverpool prediction. Before Liverpool were beaten by Bournemouth last Saturday, the Reds were in the middle of an unbeaten run. It finally felt like things were coming together for Arne Slot's men, with some of their players finally finding their feet. In Alexander Isak's absence, Hugo Ekitike and Florian Wirtz have seemingly formed a rather special bond, with the duo closing in on a record which was last set by Steven Gerrard and Michael Owen. And in their Champions League win against Karabag on Wednesday, their true colors shone through once again. However, seeing as though Karabag aren't even at the top of the Azerbaijan Premier League, that tie can't really be looked into all that much. Thanks to their 6-0 win on Wednesday, Liverpool finished in the top 8 of the Champions League table, with all of their attention now being focused on the FA Cup and Premier League. Their next top-flight clash comes against Newcastle on Saturday, with the Reds likely looking to get back to winning ways. Roy Keane predicts the scoreline of Liverpool versus Newcastle. Ever since Liverpool prized Isak away from St. James Park, most Newcastle fans have had it out for the Reds. The Sweden international was their star man, and even though they signed Nick Waltemade to replace him, they would have likely preferred to keep their number 9 at the club. However, due to the injuries the striker has suffered, he's failed to have much of an impact on Liverpool's season, with Ekitike becoming their main striker. And despite the absence of some of Liverpool's first-team squad, Roy Keane still believes Saturday's clash could be a mad game. Liverpool, Newcastle, it's getting hard. I've never found it easy, he said live on the Stick to Football podcast. Draw. Let's do a draw. Let's do 2-2. It could be a mad game. Liverpool still have a lot to play for this season. Although Liverpool may be 6th in the Premier League table, they still have a lot to prove. Last season, Slot's men were one of the most dominant teams in the world, with players such as Mo Salah having record-breaking campaigns. And with the arrival of all their new players in the summer, most fans likely expected their club to easily run away with the top-flight title. That's obviously not been the case, but the fact that they still have a chance of winning the FA Cup and Champions League is something worth fighting for. Of course, a top-4 finish in the Premier League should also be high on the agenda, which is why the Reds must beat Newcastle on Saturday. Much like Liverpool, Eddie Howe's men haven't been at their best either, which could be good for the Reds' chances. Nobody knows how Saturday's clash will pan out, but if Liverpool throw everything in their power towards winning the game, there's no reason why they can't come out on top.
News headline: Manager opens up on Liverpool right back's complex injury blow. Liverpool's problems at right back are mounting. Trent Alexander-Arnold left last summer, joining Real Madrid on a $10 million deal from Real Madrid. Connor Bradley was given a new long-term contract by sporting director Richard Hughes, while Jeremy Frimpong was brought in on a $29.5 million deal from Bayer Leverkusen. It was expected that the duo would help the Premier League champions transition into a post-Trent era, only it's not happened like that. Frimpong is already on his 3rd injury absence of the season, following the latest blow he suffered against Karabag in the Champions League on Wednesday night. Right now, it's unknown how long the 25-year-old will be out, but he is surely going to be back before Bradley. The Northern Ireland captain suffered a brutal injury blow a few weeks ago during the closing stages of a Premier League game against Arsenal. Kneecap injury confirmed for Bradley. Initially described as a serious knee injury, it is expected to keep Bradley out until the end of this season at least. Northern Ireland coach Michael O'Neill has now revealed more details about the 22-year-old's injury and recovery, confirming that the right back has injured a kneecap. It's quite a complex injury, he told the Belfast Telegraph. Everyone always fears an ACL. It's a kneecap injury, and we just have to give Connor as much support as we can. It's a hammer blow for us that he's out, but we have to deal with it. Northern Ireland play Italy in the FIFA World Cup playoffs in March, with O'Neill admitting that talks are ongoing with Liverpool in order to have Bradley available to travel with the squad. Too early to say if Bradley will be at the World Cup. Obviously, if Liverpool give us the okay in terms of his recovery, he'd be with us in Italy, he said. He also stated that the Liverpool Academy graduate would be welcome to join his international teammates ahead of the Italy game, with the side's preparations taking place on Merseyside. Our training camp for the Italian match will be in Liverpool, so he'll be available to come in if and when it suits him, and if and when Liverpool permits him, and if it's the right thing, O'Neill said. We'll have dialogue with the club to look at the situation to bring him with us if that is first of all what he wants to do, and obviously if Liverpool give us permission to do that. The coach also added that it was too early to start talking about Bradley's participation in the World Cup, should Northern Ireland get by Italy and then either Wales or Bosnia-Herzegovina.
News headline: Liverpool has 5 players missing for Newcastle game as Arne Slot faces Dominik's szoboszlai dilemma. News in details. Liverpool has a number of injury issues to contend with ahead of facing Newcastle United in the Premier League this weekend, with Jeremy Frimpong now set to miss a few weeks. Liverpool will be without 5 players as it takes on Newcastle United in the Premier League this weekend, with Jeremy Frimpong the latest star to be sidelined. Arne Slot explained on Friday that Frimpong's injury is not as bad as first feared. However, he is set to be missing for a number of weeks because of the issue he sustained against Karabag in the Champions League. Joe Gomez is still missing because of the heavy knock he sustained when he was clattered into by Alisson Becker at Bournemouth. Ibrahima Konate, though, is set to return after he missed a couple of fixtures due to the death of his father. Long-term absentees Alexander Isak, Connor Bradley, and Giovanni Leone are all absent at the moment. Alongside Frimpong and Gomez, they are the only players Slot will be without this weekend. I think it's throughout the whole season. Every single game is crucial, but the way we've positioned ourselves now probably makes every game even more crucial, because that's definitely what we want to achieve, Slot said. So then it is a crucial game, as the next one is a crucial one, as the next one is a crucial one as well. We've experienced how tough it is to play against Newcastle in the 1.5 years I have been here now. It's always been a very tough contest, a very tough game for us, but for them as well. So, a great game to look forward to, because we both had a good result during the week, and a home game at Anfield is always something to look forward to.
Midweek, Liverpool beat Qarabag in the Champions League, scoring 6 times. The next challenge will be to prove that form can translate into domestic matters. I prefer to win it than losing that game, so that is always helping, Slot continued. Every game you win helps, in the first place because we qualified for the last 16, and second of all because it was a good win with some good performances, players scoring goals. That's always helpful. But we are fully aware of the fact that one win isn't enough at this club. So the next one is coming fast with Newcastle, and I'm 100% sure that that game is a bigger challenge than the one we faced on Wednesday. But it is always helpful to win, especially if we've lost in the last minute at Bournemouth. Then it's always nice to have a better feeling during the week.
News headline: Mo Salah's heir is finally here. Spectacular winger joins Liverpool's first team. A spectacular winger has joined Liverpool's first team, and he could be Mo Salah's heir. The Egyptian king is going to be moving on sooner rather than later. Salah has just 18 months left on his contract, and he's unlikely to extend beyond those terms. In fact, he may not even fulfill those terms. There's a possibility that he could leave Anfield for pastures new as early as this summer. Considering his outburst earlier on in the season, it would not be a surprise. We'd all like him to stay. Salah is an icon at Anfield, and he's still one of the best players in the world. Liverpool need players like that. The Reds are better when Salah is on the pitch. However, if he does leave, it looks like there is already an ideal successor coming through the ranks, who joined the Reds' first team this week in order to showcase his talents to Arne Slot. It's very rare that Liverpool give teenagers an opportunity to train with the first team. It's even rarer that they give that opportunity to a 15-year-old. Even the likes of Rion Gumoha and Trent Alexander-Arnold only trained with the first team after they had turned 16 years old. Perhaps the only player who had trained with the first team at a similar age was Raheem Sterling, who was an incredible talent during his time at the academy. It is those footsteps that young Joshua Aloub is following in. Anfield Watch understands the 15-year-old winger joined Liverpool's first team during a training session this week as he continues to make his way up the ranks. This was an opportunity for Slot to get a closer look at Aloub, and there is an expectation that he will be involved in more training sessions in the future. Liverpool have regarded him as one of the brightest young talents in the academy for a while now. Aloub has been at the club since pre-academy days. During the last year or so, fans have been very keen to get a closer look at him after his heroics on England U15 duty. Now it looks like Aloub is finally here, and we may be seeing clips of him in those first-team training videos very soon. For those who want to see more of him, he's been on fire in the U18 side this season. Aloub has played 8 matches for the academy, and he has 5 goals, 2 assists, and 1 penalty won, averaging a goal or assist every 68 minutes on the pitch. Those are remarkable numbers for a player at this level, let alone someone who is not even a first-year scholar yet. What makes Aloub so special is that he is very similar in profile to Salah. He's left-footed, and he loves to come inside and get into goal-scoring situations. He is also terrifying when he cuts into his left foot from the right. If you look at some of the goals he has scored this season, they are very Salah-esque in their delivery. So it feels like the stars are aligning for Liverpool. Salah may be on his way out, but Aloub is on his way in, and he looks destined to take the Egyptian's throne.